Yo, if you was really expecting this to be good, I don't blame you, because when I first seen the trailer, I was like, Even in the beginning, when Baki and Oma started having an aura battle, that junk was fire, I ain't gonna lie. But you was mistaken if you thought it was gonna be fire all the way through. Because when it finally dropped, 30 minutes in, I'm like, when I'm watching something I'm genuinely interested in, I don't even peek at my phone. But 30 minutes in, I'm responding to DMs from 6 months ago. The whole movie felt like one big ass filler episode. The fights, oh my God, don't get me started. These fights felt so rushed. I could have made a more interesting fight with wrestling action figures and recorded it with my 3DS. Assuming both anime series is about martial arts and techniques, we barely got any of that. It just felt like a bunch of dudes from two different universes overdosed on testosterone, slugging it out. Now, don't get me wrong. The fight between Oma and Baki was the most technique we got in that whole movie, and it was still kind of rushed, but still the most interesting thing that happened in the whole movie. But it really wasn't nothing special because it was just them countering each other's techniques and being amazed by each other's techniques. Yeah, and that's lazy writing, and here's when it gets lazier, because the fight gets cut off by Yujiro and Kuroki because they couldn't think of anything else to do with Oma and Baki. Like, son, what? Then Baki and Oma didn't want to finish the fight between them because they both got injured by Yujiro and Kuroki. So what do? They make Baki and Oma have this romantic, dare I say romantic moment between each other, and then hit us with a crazy ass to be continued. I've seen it all. There the writers get conclusive with crossovers. Oh my God. The budget for this movie had to been $18 in a Steve Harvey fleshlight. With the animation, I feel like they have to meet a middle ground because, you know, Kengan is 3D and all that, and then Baki is 2D. Even though I could have still watched Seven Deadly Sins and got the same type of animation, but it was still decent. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not complaining about it. The script, as in the dialogue, was buns. So many short sentences within a 2-millisecond encounters between certain characters. And then when you did get elongated dialogue between characters, you got stuff like Julius and Oliver arm wrestling and meat riding each other over how oily and muscly they look. Or even the two dudes that had to use the restroom but sat there and stared at each other for hours because if you went to use the bathroom, that showed a sign of weakness. Like me, would have been standing there for mad long. Can't get caught being weak. Heck no. Although those interactions were fun to see, I still wanted to see an accurate or fitting fight/challenge between the characters. I ain't gonna lie. The most random unnecessary things will happen. Like, for example, Pickle entering the ring. And I can already hear you people now. Oh, Pickle didn't want no one fighting Jack Henry because that was his prey. That's why he entered the blah, 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 blah. The freak. We did not need it. If I knew they was gonna do this with a lot of the iconic side characters that resides in Baki and Kengan, I would have said, yo, make the movie focus mostly on Baki and Oma. We don't need all that extra jump. Now, this is a little off, but on topic, I do think Kengan Ashura is better than Baki, but thank the higher power this junk was not canon, because honestly, Baki characters are destroying anyone in Kengan Ashura. I like saying Ashura, forget Ashura. I don't care. Baki characters are like superhumans, and I'ma keep pressing this issue. Sun fell from a building. God knows how tall the building was. It landed on a Lamborghini. This movie really should have just been focused on Baki and Oma, majority of it. But all we really got was individual goofy interactions between characters of each verse that the writer thought was fit for each other. Like, we see what y'all was trying to do. It didn't work. And you know they forced it together because one, both animes are fighting animes and they're kind of in the same lane, the same blueprint, kind of. But it was also a way to promote Kengan Ashura Season 2, the last part. But it's crazy though, because I'm pretty sure we as just consumers, we could have waited extra longer for them to produce something memorable, if you will. But it all just felt like a money grab. I ain't gonna lie. They knew the fans was asking for it. They was like, alright, here you go. But I promise you, we could have waited. Like, we was not fiending. Quick side note, when I first seen the trailer, I didn't do too much research on if it was gonna be a movie or a series. When I found out it was a movie, I was low-key, high-key type. But I was still willing to check it out because one, most anime movies, everything is enhanced in anime movies. Animation, dialogue, whatever. Man, was I wrong. The ending of Baki vs. Kengan was pretty predictable and expected. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not 100% mad at it, but you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, y'all could have did so much better with these two great characters, Oma and Baki. Now, the power scaling in the anime was kind of what threw me off a little bit. because the Baki characters, I feel like they nerfed them just so they could fight the Kengan characters, which would be okay if they just did it right. Even though it threw me off, when I think about it, if we didn't nerf them a little bit, we wouldn't have a crossover in the first place. You know what I'm saying? It would be no point in doing it. But then again, it all depends on the character. I'm not going to say every character is overpowered and superhuman. I'll take that back. Also, like how they lined up the encounters between the characters based off the personalities and the roles each character plays in each anime. With the exception of Ryan and Jack, that was kind of like whatever. But that's my point though. If you were going to nerf them, the movie should have been straight techniques on techniques. Personalities clashing, great dialogue, dare I say, better animation. But obviously, as I explained like 50 million times, we didn't get that. So if I was to rate it, I'd say 4.5 out of 10. All right, this video getting way too long because I'm doing all this in one day. You know, I made the script, I recorded, and now I'm about to edit this video. And I ain't trying to be here for like 30 hours trying to edit this video. So, yeah.